HECS and HELP.
Yeah, it's getting to the point where the level of debt that people are having to go into is making a material difference to their lives. We've been campaigning around wiping student debt for a while, and we've got the government to say that they'll commit to wiping 20%, which is a pretty good start, good down payment.
But wiping 20% of HECS or HELP debt doesn't materially change your week-on-week costs because...
That's right. So we'd say we should wipe it all.
Yeah.
But like again, it's also about how long do you have to keep paying it off for? Because like when I did, back in the day,
Start calling you Biden in a minute, wiping all this student loan debt.
Well, but this would make, like, if we wipe student debt, it would make a big difference. Like, it would make a big difference to people.
How much is that in current student debt?
It's Australia makes more from student debt repayments than they do from the gas tax for the big corporations.
Here we go. As of February 25, Australian university graduates collectively owe approximately $81 billion in student loans. And
so the amount of repayments that people are paying on that is more than we're getting from the gas tax, right? In this, like, they don't do that in Qatar. They don't do that, like, there's other countries that have worked out how to have a fairer tax system. But like, yeah, I 5 years to do an arts law degree, and I came out with a $12,000 HECS debt, and I paid it off within a few years. Now it's $50,000 to do an arts degree. You can get there are $50,000 arts degree debts. Not every one of them is cost that, but and it's rising, and it's like you add to that the soaring costs of rent and housing, and it's just like it all accumulates. And again, the Prime Minister went to university for free, right? Again, it's a question of priorities. But
now universities are effectively private businesses now. So what are you saying? So I guess my thing is you've got the big policy. We're going to and want to wipe HECS and HELP debt, which would mean, do we make higher education effectively free? Number one, how would you actually implement that? You've got to pay off $80 billion of existing debt. Then you've got to effectively bankroll. Is that fraught? Because we need buy-in. Like, it's that.
Well, but I have a. Well, firstly, the government's moving for free TAFE, right? So
I did a free TAFE course 18 months ago.
Right.
Maritime operations.
Amazing.
Can't get a job. They won't give me one. Not experienced enough. I want to be on a tugboat.
I feel like that's my thing I've learned during this interview. That's great. Look, it's a question of like we have free primary school and secondary school, right? And they're now moving towards free TAFE. The Prime Minister had free university. Like we can afford it, right? Make these big corporations and billionaires pay their fair share of tax, and we can do things like free TAFE, free university, and wiping debts, which makes it easier for people to start their lives because you don't have this huge debt hanging around you. You're already struggling with soaring costs elsewhere. Like you shouldn't have to worry about the debt as well. So make the billionaires and big corporations pay for it. But I've always been a believer in a progressive tax system, personal income tax system in this country. And we know that there is a correlation between having a university degree and having a higher income. Well, what that does is it puts you in a higher tax bracket. And so therefore you pay a bit more proportionately than someone else. And so you do get in terms of your question about buy-in and your question of return, if your university degree leads you to earn more money, then you'll end up paying a higher rate of tax. And I think with a progressive tax system, with billionaires and big corporations paying their fair share of tax, we can make university free. And my dad was the first person in his family to go to uni, and there was a very working class family, was able to do it because it was free. I speak to people now who are saying, with youth allowance so low, with the forecast debt so high, with rent so high, they're just saying, it's making me rethink whether to do it again, and we shouldn't be like that.